Welcome back to Everyday Iowa. Checking up on your hearing and understanding what your ears do is just as important as checking up, regular checkups at the doctors. Joining us today from Hope Hearing Tinnitus Center is Heather Thatcher. Good morning, Heather. How are you?
I'm
Welcome
well.
back.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
We had the debate off air, tinnitus or tinnitus. We're going to go with tinnitus.
There we go. Either is correct, but we'll go with tinnitus today.
For those who have heard it but maybe don't understand it, let's explain what it is and then let's talk about how you can help.
Absolutely. Tinnitus is the sound that somebody is hearing, a ringing, a chirping, a buzzing, a hissing. Some people hear crickets and cicadas and locusts, but it's the presence of that sound in here that's not actually present out in our environment.
And what causes it?
It is actually, by definition, an consequence, a neurological consequence of some sort of blockage or damage within the auditory system. Basically, the brain's not getting the information that it knows it's supposed to be getting, and it's trying to fix the problem by creating a sound to fill that gap.
And we're going to talk about how you can help. We're looking at some video here, some of the things you can do, and we've got some slides here we're going to put on the big screen, but let's talk about how this can affect life. There's a lot of linkages that we hear so often from hearing and balance and hearing and cognitive ability.
Absolutely, and there's been a lot of studies coming out from places like Johns Hopkins and MIT and Harvard, but a lot of small research facilities as well, showing those direct links with dementia and Alzheimer's and balance as well. I mean, there's a lot of connotations that come along with hearing loss and tinnitus that most people don't think about. But it is something that is treatable. So it has a big impact. When you talk hearing loss and how much the brain is working and how heavy that workload can become, and then you factor in tinnitus as another obstacle, that workload on the brain is heavy, and that starts to have an impact on cognition as time goes down the road too. It's huge.
And I would assume the unintended consequences, the anxiety, oh, I know I'm dealing with this, when's it going to go away, and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And you know, a lot of this does stem with some sort of blockage or damage to the auditory system, but there are illnesses, there are allergies, stress, anxiety, not sleeping well. There's a lot of other factors that play into it that just kind of compound the problem as time goes on too.
So you said it's treatable. There are things you can do. Let's talk a little bit about that. What can you do? What can somebody who's watching right now, what can they do to kind of help this?
Absolutely. The first thing is we've got to do a full assessment. We've got to figure out what's going on with that auditory system. Are there areas of damage that we need to look at treating? And that's where the hearing component comes in. But we've also got to talk about the nervous system, because that's at the heart of what's going on too, and treating it with a very low level soothing sound therapy, all in two little devices that are very discreet and just kind of go about your day.
Because I think people still think that the hearing aids are so huge and bulky. They're almost invisible.
They are, and there's a big stigma when it comes to hearing aids. But their technology has come so far in the last few years, and it's something that typically we kind of have behind the ears. There's a little tiny wire that goes in, and most people don't even notice that they're there. And you put them on in the morning, you go about your day. It doesn't disrupt. It doesn't cause any issues. You don't even know that it's there, but it's kind of working behind the scenes to give your brain all of the support that it needs.
And we should mention too, this is not just for somebody who's in the older set. This could be 30s and 40s. This could be 20s.
And teenagers. Actually, we're starting to see a lot in that department when you talk about this age that we're living in with a lot of earbuds in kiddos' ears at an early age. We don't know the consequences of that yet, but we're seeing an upswing. But no, it could affect anybody in varying degrees, where it's there. Maybe it's not super bothersome, but somebody wants to be proactive about taking care of it early, to the other extreme where it is all-encompassing. It is affecting their sleep, their eating, their social interactions, and everybody in between. It is super distracting, and it does affect quality of life.
I want to talk briefly, too, about hyperacusis real quick. Tell me just a little, give me the elevator pitch on that.
It's a sound sensitivity, where certain sounds that would be normal to you and I are, to that particular patient, very, very loud and almost painful. There's also an emotional element to that called misophonia, where you have maybe not the physical pain, but you have the emotional response to that. And it's all really interrelated with the overstimulation of the nervous system. And the way that we treat that is actually with the same type of therapy that we use to treat tinnitus.
So step one, get a hold of you,
got
get this
it.
assessment,
You got
get
it.
over here.
Get
as
over
we put
here.
the big screen behind us.
Yeah.
How can people get a hold of you and start having this conversation?
We just call the office, and there is a very thorough phone call that our gals go through with you to talk about symptoms, what they're going through. Is it something that we can actually help with? And then kind of talk about expectations of what to expect at that 2-hour evaluation. That is also very thorough, and we go through everything from testing to walking you through what tinnitus is, how we treat it. You get to try things out and kind of experience that sound therapy in our office as well.
It doesn't regulate to any certain age. You don't have to have hearing loss
No.
to have the other. So
Absolutely not.
You do have to make that phone call.
But you got to make the phone call.
Always good. Come back
Absolutely.
over here. We keep parting ways. I showered this morning, for goodness sake. All her details on our website at kcrg.com. Heather, thanks for coming in
Thank you
this
so much
morning.
for having me. It was so good to be here.
You stay there.